I did about 3 edibles. So it's gonna be hopefully a fun time and we will see how it goes. But yes, I definitely did 3 edibles. I just wanted to have a chill day of relaxing before tomorrow I go to Ari Shaffir's comedy show, which I am so excited about. I cannot wait. And really about coming back to this idea of gratitude and being grateful for all the opportunities that I have in my life. I am so honored and blessed, and I also think that it's really important for us to try to stay in that type of zone, to stay in that place of, yes, we are very honored. We do have a lot of things to be grateful for and a lot of things that we can be grateful for. So, why aren't we when they're going to put us at a higher frequency? The higher the frequency, the better, right? We always want to be at our highest level, be at our best. Well, being at a higher frequency means that you are being your best, that you are at your best, that you are performing at your best. And a lot of times we're so concerned about our performance and about how people are going to accept us and feel about us, when all we really have to do is change our frequency. And it's something that's very easy to do internally. But if you need external stimuli to help you do this, you can get onto YouTube as you are right now. And you can search for frequency music. Now, they make a lot of this to help you sleep, and they make a lot of it so that way, the way that music was made in the past, it wasn't processed properly with our ears. It was kind of causing some issues. So they realized that at these certain frequencies, we're able to take in music a little bit more easily. We're also able to, be induced into certain hypnotic trances if we so choose with this type of frequency music. So it's really interesting, and I even have a playlist. Oh, I'm so sorry, Juan, I don't speak Spanish. I apologize. But I do have a playlist that says, I believe, frequency music or hertz music or something like that. And then you can listen to it and check it out for yourself. You can kind of see, okay, is this something that's going to work for me, or is this something that isn't? It's really something that has helped me, that has really helped with calming me down. It's really great to listen to at night, especially when, maybe you're used to having a TV on, or maybe you're used to having something that has a lot of blue light. With this, you can simply turn it on and then turn off the screen on your device and go from there. And it is really helpful. It's really amazing. They also on YouTube have some chopped and screwed versions that are rap music that is fixed to these certain frequencies to be more palatable. So I highly suggest checking those out. There's one, Sunflower by Sway Lee. That one's out. I like that one a lot. It's one of my favorites. It's one of my favorite songs. So I was very grateful when they decided to, or someone decided to go ahead and reverb it for me. But outside of that, things have been going awesome. Things have been going great. Been talking to my clients. I've been taking edibles. I've been living the life that I so choose to live because I want to live this life. And I think that's really not something that a lot of people can say, or that a lot of people are in a position to say, right? They're always working on getting to that next thing. They're always working on getting to the next whatever. And that's where I was too. And that's where I still get to be sometimes, when I get pumped up and really excited about transforming and being the best version of myself. That's where I kind of start to feel like sometimes it's all about leveling up, and it's all about experimenting with this game of life, right? Because that's how I see life. Life is like just a game. Life is a game that we're playing and that we're in, and we are all players. We are not NPCs, we are all players. We are all playable, and we can all play ourselves. We can play the best version of ourselves. We can play the villain version of ourselves. We can play whatever version of ourselves we want to play. It's completely up to us. It's up to us and how big our imagination can go. When you can imagine yourself as the person you would like to be, you can more easily embody it. And this is something that's so incredibly important, is when you can embody that symbol of what you want to be, when you can embody the person that you want to be, which is hopefully yourself, just the authentic version of yourself. You really see how far you can go, and you really see how committed am I to change, or how committed am I to being that version of myself. Do I really still want to be that version of myself? I mean, this is something you can think about and contemplate on for a long time. Because oftentimes we're going to change. We're not going to know exactly who or what we want to be at all times, but we are going to have an idea of it. So keeping that idea in our minds, keeping that idea in our core focus of what it is that we want to be, and are we living that dream, are we being that person, and really contemplating that and experimenting with that in your life, because it's going to take you really far. It's going to take you on different directions that you wouldn't have anticipated or expected. And that's the beauty of life as an experiment. That's the beauty of life as a game. That sometimes when you're able to see it like that, when you're able to choose to see things from a different perspective, sometimes when that happens, you're able to really grow in your mind. You're really able to learn and to see things from a different perspective, from a different viewpoint. You're able to see things from a much larger perspective, especially when you are on edibles. No, this was not made for kids, so no kid should be watching this. But, you know, life is constantly changing. But we still have our behaviors that stay very much the same because we are afraid to change them. Or we have some type of self-limiting doubt or self-limiting belief that is holding us back a bit. And the way to get through that is to really contemplate your life, to really contemplate why it is that something's holding you back. Write about it. Talk about it. Even if it's just to yourself, or even if you're just recording yourself on your phone, which I don't suggest doing, but if you want to do that, you absolutely can. Anything just to get it out, anything just to talk it out, just to have something to process too. And once you get all that stuff out and you're more able to be your authentic self, you'll start to realize that you become less reactionary over time. When you're living your authentic purpose, when you're living by your design, you start to learn that things become easier, things become simpler. Things that you were afraid to do in the past, you're no longer afraid to do anymore. Things that were concerning to you, you no longer find them concerning. Things that you weren't sure about, you just don't worry about that anymore. You just don't worry about all the questions, and you don't worry about what all the answers need to be and what they need to mean right in this moment. You're able to be present. That's the biggest gift of being authentic, is you're able to be present, you're able to stay in your body, you're able to be exactly who you're supposed to be at all times whenever you so choose. Now, we all have our masks. We have our masks for certain things. We have our masks for certain people. We have our masks for our certain boundaries. And that's something that's incredibly important. Is when we're maintaining our boundaries, when we're putting up our walls and putting up our masks as we so need to, what we're doing is we're reparenting ourselves. There's a lot of people that seemingly have that come from wonderful childhoods, that come from a whole bunch of opportunity and gifts. But, you know, things still happen and traumas still occur and issues still occur. And so there's still issues in that, you know, family circuit and that, you know, group of family. Or there's still issues in communication and things like that you see playing out behaviorally in your life over and over. Well, that comes from the way that you were conditioned by your parents. That comes from the way that you were conditioned by society. That really comes from your conditioning, which is behavioral. So much of our behavior is conditioned. Let me repeat that. So much of our behavior is conditioned. And when we have behavior that's based on condition and not based on authenticity, then we have behavior that is unoriginal. We have behavior that is sometimes problematic. Sometimes it's not, but sometimes it is. And when it's problematic, what do? Do you run away from the problem, or do you stay to fix it? What if it doesn't need to be fixed right in this moment? Is this something that you can hold off on and process at a later date? Everything is processable. Everything is possible to happen. It all just depends on your point of view and on the way that you see things and on your perspective. You don't have to have that lucky star. You don't have to have that it factor. You don't have to have that whatever you think it is. You have everything that you need already inside you. It's just waiting to be unlocked. And human design and gene keys is an incredible way to unlock all of that. to really get to know more about yourself, more about how you operate, more about how you tick. And that's why I talk about it so much, is because of how wonderful and how different my life is due to human design and the gene keys. But enough of that. This is all about having fun. Today's live stream is what I wanted to be about fun. And I don't really watch the news or keep up with current events. I just go based off of what people tell me. So I can't really provide any type of commentary on what's going on because I stay in my own bubble, and that's because I like to be safe and secure at all times. So I enjoy solitude. I enjoy working very much with my clients and working in general. But I really enjoy my solitude. I like being able to do the things that I want to do when I need to do them. And I have a lifestyle that allows me to do that, which I'm so grateful for. And I'm grateful for the opportunities that I have because they're numerous. There's so many of them, and I'm constantly grateful for them. But the biggest thing for me is seeing that change, as constant as it is and as constant as it's going to be, change is uncomfortable. And getting used to being uncomfortable every day, getting used to doing things that I normally wouldn't want to do or wouldn't be in a position of not having that fear, right? Of having my certain armor and my certain things that I can hide behind because it's easier for me that way. Because sometimes I just get scared. And that's everyone's experience. Sometimes people just get scared and people aren't really sure what to do with that feeling. People oftentimes want to run away from that feeling, not even so much from the situation, but just from the feeling of that fear. Fear can be all-encompassing, and fear can be overwhelming for some people. People have panic attacks because of it. People have panic attacks because of fear. Because something becomes so overwhelming that it panic-strickens a person. I choose to live my life not panic-stricken. I choose to live my life in the now, enjoying the moments as they are, and enjoying things as they're going to be, as I believe and I know that they're going to be. That everything is going to always be getting better for me because that's exactly how I see my life trajectory going. And you can see your life trajectory going that way too if you so choose to and if you so believe. Your belief is a powerful thing. Your thoughts become your beliefs, and your beliefs become your reality. So if my reality, if what I'm always telling myself because of the way that I live, that I'm safe and secure, then my reality is I am safe and secure. It's something that I thought, but it's something that I also believe. And so therefore it is my reality. Therefore it is something that I feel comfortable saying and comfortable believing because I know it to be true. Now, did anybody confirm this to me? No. The world that we live in actually confirmed to me that we live in a place of unsafety. That's why I stopped watching the news. I kept watching the news and I kept thinking, everything feels so unsafe. Everything feels so impossible. Everything feels so fake. Everything feels like it's just for ratings. Everything feels like it's just for likes. Everything feels like it's just for continual self-affirmation or external validation. And I was just tired. I was tired of all of the external validation that I kept feeling like I needed to get, especially when you have a YouTube channel and you feel like you have to have that external validation. When sometimes people are just too scared to even give that to you, when they just sometimes just want to listen to you. Sometimes people have good ideas and people just want to shut up and listen to them. Isn't that a crazy thought? That sometimes you're not getting that like, or you're not getting that encouragement because maybe somebody is learning from you. Understanding that at all times you can be somebody's role model, that's something that's heavy to live with. But it's something that I enjoy having that responsibility of. It's something that I enjoy having that knack for, is being able to be a natural leader, or being able to be naturally confident. But learning how to be confident because I spent so many years being unconfident. And that's how I learned my confidence. I learned my confidence because of how unconfident I was, because of how little I saw myself as, because of how low my self-worth was. And for what reason, I don't really know. I don't really know why I didn't see things from the perspective that I see them now, but I'm so grateful that I do now. I'm so grateful that I was able to turn a corner and to see things for what they really were, and to see everything as the blessing that it is, and to experience everything as an opportunity, as an experiment, as an experience. Something that no one else has had in my life. No one else has had the exact same experiences as I have. Now I can very much be in tune with your experience. I can very much live it in a sense. And I can tell you, yes, I can validate your feelings on your experience. But can I say I've fully lived your experience? No, because I'm not you and you're not me. There is going to be unity. There is going to be people coming together. All the stuff that's going on right now is just something that is happening in the world. All the change right now is something that we just simply have to go through. That's just simply what it is. Everything is supposed to happen the way that it's unfolding, and it's unfolding the way that it is for a reason. But there's no reason to fear the future. There's no reason to worry about it, just like there's no reason to live in regret and to be stuck in the past. The only reason there is now. Staying in the present, staying in the moment, but also allowing yourself to be free, and allowing yourself to be wild when you want to be wild, and allowing yourself to be silly when you want to be silly, and allowing yourself to go ahead and experience the entire spectrum of human emotion, the entire spectrum of human behavior. We can all look back in our past and we can see certain maybe moments of our behavior that we aren't proud of or that we are ashamed of. But instead of continuing to feel that shame by blaming ourselves, we can put ourselves in a place of opportunity, in a place of an opportunity for growth and forgiveness. And when we can forgive ourselves, there is no stopping how high we can go and how much growth we can really achieve. Forgiveness is such an important step. I know that there were so many things that I would blame myself about, and there were so many things that I would just play victim to. I would simply play victim to it. I would play victim to it, and I would be like, oh, it's all my fault. Another way to be a victim. Having everything be your fault. It's so easy to fall into that victim status. It's so easy to fall into it, and it's much easier, or it's much more difficult to get out of it. But when there's ways that you can, I always want to share those, because I know how it feels. I know how it feels to have all that blame and all that shame and all that guilt. And it's unnecessary, and it's a terrible way to live. It's a difficult way to live for sure, but I mean, it's terrible. You can have gifts and not be able to see them no matter what you look like. You can have gifts and be able to see them no matter what you look like. You can fall on a spectrum, as we all do. We all fall on a different spectrum of a whole bunch of different things. But if we want to be well, we have to be accepting of all these different things. We have to be accepting of all our different sides. We have to be accepting of all of us. So yes, forgiveness is incredibly important, but forgiveness of ourselves is most important. Learning how to forgive ourselves, or learning how to forgive another person, is another way that you're forgiving yourself. You're forgiving yourself for a situation, for allowing yourself to have your life be controlled by another person through your anger, or through your anguish, or through your pain. That was something that was a real roller coaster for me when I went through it. I couldn't let go of blame with certain situations. I had a difficult time with certain situations, and it took me months and months to get out of it. But it was something that I was really wrestling with. And what I was wrestling with was a particular relationship that I had that was incredibly abusive and that was incredibly negative. And dealing with the shame and guilt of putting myself in that situation, as well as living in that situation for as long as I did. But finding that I was proud of myself for getting out of that situation when I did, getting my own place, getting out of that negative spot, out of that negativity, because it was constant. It was constant and it was incessant. But the gift from that is that I get to remember how all that felt and how my life now is so different from that, and there's so much love in my life, and there's so much positivity in my life. So now whenever I remember any of those moments, any of that difficulty, any of that hardship, I don't feel the pain anymore. Instead, I feel grateful that I'm not in that situation anymore. I feel grateful that I'm in a position of happiness and joy. I feel happy to be grateful. I feel happy to have such a different mindset than I did back then. I'm happy that I think so differently about myself, and I really see my true value, and I really see my true worth. And it's not easy to do. It takes time. It takes time that people think that they don't have, but they really do. Because all it really takes is contemplation. All it really takes is preparation and really thinking about things. Really trying to see things for as they are. Letting go of having things be the way that you want them to be right now. Understanding that things are a waiting game sometimes, that we do have to be patient with certain things, that we do have to learn patience. And learning patience and forgiveness are not easy. And what does that mean? We're going to go through trials, and we're going to go through difficult things that are going to test it, that are going to test our patience. Normal things, things like having to wait at a restaurant if you didn't get a reservation. Small little things that seem perfectly trivial, but they're all little tests to get you better prepared for being a more valuable person in society and a more valuable person to yourself, and to see yourself fully as someone that's worth all of that value, as someone that's worth more than what they're receiving now. Understanding that not everything is all about expense and money, because I believe that time and energy are more important resources than money. But understanding that you don't need a lot of it to start to make a change. You don't need a lot to start to better your life. You just need a different type of education. You just need to intake different things. You need to intake different opportunities, different possibilities. You have to use your imagination. And the great thing about using your imagination is that's something that no one can take away from you. That's your own original thought. That's your own original form. That's your own original way of thinking. It's your imagination, and no one can take that from you. Your thoughts and your feelings and your emotions are something that no one can take away from you. There's something that you earned, or something you didn't earn, or something you couldn't understand and couldn't process in the moment, so it came out as something reactive and negative. And that happens a lot. Sometimes we speak without intending to speak what we're saying. This can be a good thing as in one of these with the stream of consciousness, but this can also definitely be a bad thing when there's a trigger involved. When there's something involved that has caused you that ick, that feeling, that uncomfortability. And choosing to be able to pause and reflect on that before answering anything, or choosing to pause and reflect on that before reacting instead of just simply responding. It's so much easier to react to things. It's so much easier to very quickly come to an idea or a judgment on something or someone. When we can't put a lot of thought into the decisions that we're making, it really shows how little we think about ourselves and how little we really care. I'm not saying that we have to care about every little thing that we think or think that that's correct. But what I'm saying is that it does matter, the things that we think. It does matter what we're intaking. It does matter what we're telling ourselves. It all does matter, and it all adds up, and your body is what keeps the count. Your body is what holds on to your traumas. Your body is what holds on to your guilt. Your body is what holds on to your shame. But it's really easy to get out of that. It's just not easy to do. The steps are simple, the work is not. Shadow work especially, that stuff is very difficult. It's very difficult to face things that we're uncomfortable about. It's very difficult to face things that we aren't sure about. It's very difficult to face things that we're just unaware of how it's going to go, and just deciding, hey, my life is an experiment and I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to be that scientist and I'm going to experiment on myself. I'm going to experiment on my life. I want to have experiences that are different than what they are now. Or maybe you're in a place of already being changed. Maybe you're in a place of already seeking help, and for that, I am so proud of you if you are. If you're in a place where things are turning around for you, if you're in a place where things are starting to look up, where things are starting to change because you yourself changed the way that you saw yourself, if that's where you are, if that's where you are right now, more power to you. That's amazing. Because that's exactly where I want people to be. I want people to be in a place of growing and changing and evolving. We are anyways, so why not do it towards the positive? Why not do it towards something that's going to be very beneficial for all of us? When we're making positive changes, that is going to inspire other people to make positive changes as well. That may not be your intention, but quite often that is exactly what happens. That's exactly what happens. People start to notice, people start to just simply notice you, notice the changes that you're making, notice the difference that you're making, and they want to be a part of that and they want to grow with it. And if they don't, then just know that's someone you're going to be spending a little bit less time with, but there's going to be a lot more people that want to spend more time with you because they see exactly what you're doing. They see that you're being your true authentic self, that you're doing the best that you can to better yourself, that you've taken on a more positive perspective, an easier perspective to take. Maybe you've lowered how skeptical you can be. Maybe you can see life for what it is. Just an experiment, just a game that we're all playing, an experiment that we're all a part of, and something that we all have a choice in. We have a choice with our behaviors, we have a choice with our thoughts, we have a choice with everything. Yes, we have our unconscious, and yes, our unconscious is largely in control. That doesn't mean that we can't learn how to control it. That can be through meditation, that can be through just working it out, through a lot of things. Shadow work, reading, informing yourselves, learning about yourselves, learning about human design and the gene keys, just like I'm doing, and seeing the results that I'm getting so quickly. Just because knowledge can be power. You know, it was true what they said in the 90s, knowledge is power. It really can be. But it's also good to be in our bodies, to allow that feminine energy to embody us, and to allow ourselves to be in our bodies, and to really understand that it's okay to not always think logically, that it's okay to not always be in this place of, oh, I have to level up, oh, I have to be more well, oh, I have to do this. No, there's always times and opportunities for play. There's always times and opportunities to do things that you love. There's always times and opportunities to do things that you want to do. You just have to make that your priority. If your priority is having a more fun-loving life, then do things that are more fun-loving. Have experiences that are more fun-loving. Go enjoy nature. Be outside for a little bit. Enjoy things for what they are and for what they can be. Be grateful for everything that you have, because you have a lot, even if you don't think that you do. Use what you have and grow. Grow into something bigger and better than you are right now. Choose it for yourself, choose it for your life, and go and make it happen. Thank you so much for being a part of this live stream. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and or join as it is popping off on my tiers. And I will see you on the next live stream or video. Be well. stay wild as well.